Okay, so we know how bad things are. We know how horrible Donald Trump is. We know how badly he is screwing everything up in this country. But I caution you not to believe everything that you initially hear about something he may do. Because oftentimes what you may hear, depending upon the source, it may be not true at all or completely exaggerated, or Trump says he's doing something when he's doing absolutely nothing of the sort, or he issues some executive order that actually does nothing. It's nothing but a glorified press release with the words executive order at the top, but it doesn't actually do a damn thing. And so yesterday, to this point, I came across some comments on social media, people freaking out that Donald Trump was repealing the Civil Rights Act. And I'm like, oh, what in fresh hell is this about? I knew immediately these people got misinformation or just sky is falling hysterics, and that it isn't, he can't repeal. The point is he can't repeal the Civil Rights Act. So I knew there had to be something else going on here. So what's going on? So I found out that it was an executive order that Donald Trump signed. I found the video. It was another one of these executive order signing ceremonies in the Oval Office where Trump just sits there. He looks like half the time he's there behind the desk, he looks like, a really elderly nursing home patient who doesn't really know where he is, and he just got awoken from a nap, and he's got some visitor that he doesn't recognize, and he just has this stupid look on his face like, where am I? Can I get some of that tapioca pudding? That kind of just out of it look, while one of his staffers stands there with a bunch of executive orders that he hands to Trump one at a time, and then explains to him what the executive order is. And Trump's looking there like, this is the first time he's hearing about it, and he's not quite understanding even what he's being told. And so he makes some stupid comment and then signs it. Oh, wow, that's a really big deal. And then he signs it. So it was one of those signing ceremonies. And so I read the executive order. I listened to what his little lackey said there. And they're getting rid of, he's instructing his administration, his regime, not to consider disparate impact when looking at cases of alleged discrimination. And what that means is you could have a regulation or something that is neutral in terms of it's race neutral or in other ways neutral as to its application to blacks or to women or to Hispanics. However, the actual regulation or rule or whatever in practice has a disparate impact on one group or another. It might have a more negative impact to African Americans more so than other groups, or to Hispanics or whatever. And so there's a disparate impact, a different way in which it impacts different groups. And in the past, when reviewing these sorts of things for compliance with the Civil Rights Act, you would take into consideration disparate impact. Maybe on the face of the rule or regulation, it doesn't treat one group different than the other, but in practice, the results are that there's a disparate impact. And so Trump, in this executive order, or, Russ Vought or Stephen Miller, whoever actually wrote the thing, and then, just like Trump understands it at all. Not. Doesn't understand with any of this. But what they're doing here is instructing the regime not to take into consideration disparate impact anymore. Now, I am not defending that, but what I am saying is that's a far cry from repealing the Civil Rights Act, which, as I say, he has no authority to do. That's a law. He can't repeal a law by executive order. Okay? basic civics. So it's not a possibility. Now, he can do a lot of damage with these ridiculous executive orders, and he is. But one thing to keep in mind, anything that he does by executive order can be repealed by executive order. So every single one of these friggin' things that he's done by executive order, and it's pretty much, that's the only thing he has done. I mean, in his first 100 days, is there any big legislation he's gotten through like most presidents use their first 100 days for? I mean, we give importance to this first 100 days for a reason. It's because it's the honeymoon period for a new president. It's historically the time of their greatest support among the American people. And they're able to get much of their agenda done in that first 100 days. And if you don't, it's harder to get anything done after that. Because the longer you're in office, the less support you usually have as things happen. And what has Trump done? What has he gotten passed through Congress in his first 100 days? Nothing. Nothing. Everything's been by executive order. So every single thing that this man has done virtually, everything he's done by executive order, can be undone on day one with the stroke of a pen by the next president. Okay, so yes, these things are bad, but number one, let's not believe about these things something that's not true. So let's not believe that he repealed by executive order the Civil Rights Act. That's just factually not true. So you don't need to allow yourself into, to be hysterical about something that isn't even true. And to the extent that he is doing very bad things by executive order, just understand that we can undo all of this. Now, a lot of the damage that gets done, even if we repeal these executive orders at some point, hopefully in the not too distant future, some of that damage you can't undo. So that's certainly a problem. But let us look at the fact that he's doing all this by executive order as opposed to by legislation. Let's look at that as a good thing, because we can so easily undo everything. If he keeps on with the rest of his administration, the rest of his term, I should say, the rest of his term, as he has up to this point, we can virtually wipe away everything that he did. Everything from a policy perspective. Again, some of the damage will definitely be permanent, and we will be trying to clean up this mess for decades to come. But in terms of the policies that he put in place, we can undo all of that. We can wipe all of that away. Every single thing he's done in one day, in a matter of hours, by the new president. If we can elect a Democrat to undo this stuff, they win the election, they prepare all these executive orders, and after taking the oath of office, before going to all these inaugural balls and everything, the new president could sit down there and just sign everything Donald Trump right away. Just sign it all away. Just undo every damn thing that he did. You can do this in an hour. That'd be a lot of signatures, though, because he's signing a lot of executive orders, but it can be done. That's the point. So let us use this as hopeful motivation. You need some hope that we can undo all this, and we can. And let that motivate you to fight back against this, because it's not true that there's nothing we can do. It's not true that Donald Trump necessarily is going to be able to do everything that he wants and he's going to be dictator for life. I don't believe that's going to happen, and it certainly doesn't have to happen. It would take a whole lot of people rolling over and allowing it to happen for that to actually happen. Sadly, we've seen a lot of people roll over, but we're starting to see more people stand up and fight back. And that's going to be easier for other people to do as more and more people do it. Courage is contagious. It's cliche, but it is. And there's safety in numbers. There's strength in numbers. So the more people who stand up and oppose this man, the more people who will be inspired to follow suit and stand up. And you'll see how quickly this whole facade of the strength of Donald Trump falls away and is laid bare for the fraud that it is. He's not a strong man. He's a very, very weak man. Let us here in the United States take a cue from what China is doing to him, and I'm no fan of China, don't get me wrong, but China is mocking this man. They are not bowing down to him. They are not giving in to him. They slap tariffs right back on us. They tell him we're going to fight to the end. We don't take orders from you. You can go pound sand, and they're mocking him. The Chinese media is mocking the shit out of this guy. He's a joke. They're laughing at him and punching him right in the nose. And Trump is now desperately trying to walk back his tariffs. He's desperate for Xi Jinping to strike some sort of a deal that would allow Donald Trump to save face, because he knows that now that China will not be bullied, and Trump doesn't want to come out looking like the loser that he is. So he's desperate for a lifeline. Please give me something, Xi, so I can say it's a win. And China's saying, nope, you did this. You know, we're not helping you out, you piece of crap. So that needs to be our approach to Donald Trump. Mock him, stand up to him, punch the bully in the nose. And pretty soon you'll see how all of this is a fraud. He's not nearly as strong as he pretends to be, and that, you know, right-wing propaganda media tells us that he is. And I wish some of these people who have caved to him would reverse course and say, you know what, we were wrong to cave. We're now going to start fighting back, because they never should have caved in the first place. And keep note of these institutions and the people who have caved, because when this is all over, there needs to be a reckoning for those people. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Talk to you again soon.